Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast. So, today we're doing a daily brief. So, we're just talking about kind of things that are happening, hot topics, stuff, right? So, we're just talking about stuff. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about I did a podcast last night for a group called Courage in Cannabis, and really cool group. They're like taking a lot of people who have been the let's say leaders and movers and shakers in the cannabis world and telling their story, interviewing them, kind of getting the word out about kind of who they are and what they do. But anyway, I was on this show last night, and the topic with the show was obesity, and weight control, weight management, how to get control of our weight. And this is such a big topic right now. And we've got all of these pharmaceutical drugs out there that affect something called GLP-1. So drugs like Ozempic, and there's a bunch of them. Let's say GLP-1 affecting drugs. So let me kind of walk you through potentially why some of those drugs might not be safe, and why they have kind of a safety profile with them. And I'll kind of give you some information about why that is, how your body works, and why all that works. And then also a little bit about what we're doing to address that problem kind of safely and naturally. So we do have product in True Medics, a product called Fast, and our Fast product is working very, very good at helping people, let's say, overcome their appetite, which is the big thing that we really need to worry about. And I'll kind of walk you through this in my examples and stuff here, so that we'll have a nice conclusion at the end. How about that? So let me walk you through eating. And some of this is just logical, right? But we're a machine. We're a big machine. And so you work like a machine. So pieces of your machine have to communicate with each other to understand things. One of the biggest sort of things that we have is, let's say, our ability to do work. You could think of it as energy. You could think of it as how much gas you've got in your gas tank, but just, gas, right? So how much ability do you have to do work right now? And is that a variable thing? And is that important to your body? Well, it turns out, yeah, it sure is. Again, if I'm going to, let's say I'm infected and I need to really kick up the power in my immune system, well, I got to know that in my central computer, in my hypothalamus hippocampus, and that makes a difference in how much I eat, in when I feel satisfied. If I'm chronically inflamed, I know I've got to produce a lot of energy, so I'm likely going to be a little bit hungrier and take a little bit more nutrient to satisfy me. The other thing that happens is, let's say you're an athlete. Again, if you're an athlete, you're going to have different energetic needs than other people will. If you're chronically inflamed, you're definitely going to have different energetic needs, and so that's going to be communicated back to hypothalamus hippocampus. The amount of energy that you have stored is very important. So again, you're going to have communication between your hypothalamus hippocampus and your fat stores. Now, as soon as you begin to eat something, it's very important that you understand what you've just eaten, right? And I mean, your body needs to understand that. So you really have three major categories of food that your body understands, let's say. So it's either a carbohydrate, it's a protein, or it's a fat. And as soon as those touch your taste buds, you'll have enzymes begin to be produced in your pancreas to deal with carbohydrates, fats, or proteins. And those will be released into your stomach. Those will pre-exist before the lump of food gets there, okay? So because again, conformationally, digesting fats is way different than digesting sugars. It's easy to break apart sugars. It's easy for your body to absorb them. It's really hard to break apart fats, and it's really hard for your body to absorb fats. So it takes a completely different work. So there's communication again between your fat, kind of your taste buds, your pancreas, your stomach, your small intestines, that all matter whether you're full or not, okay? So we can talk about GLP-1, and GLP-1 is certainly involved in all these processes. So it's sort of the lowest level. It's the way a cell, if a cell is satisfied and he wants to tell all his buddies he's satisfied, he's going to make GLP-1 and he's going to pop that guy out and say, go tell all my buddies that, I've had enough. So GLP-1 is a good way to signal satisfaction, satiety with food. Okay, but let me walk you through something that happens with these drugs, and then I'll kind of walk you through what we're doing on the safe side and how this works in your endocannabinoids. Well, let me finish on the endocannabinoid system. So GLP-1 cell to cell, that's how this works. But there's a higher communication status that's more of a control communication status. So again, all of these cells down here have to be controlled. They've got to be told what to do. They've got to be told what to do in conjunction with our fat or our stomach or our pancreas or all this other communication, right? Because you don't want to have cells working against each other. You want to have everybody kind of rowing the boat in the same direction, and that takes communication, like a symphony, right? So we want to have a beautiful symphony, not a bunch of stuff out of tune. So in order to do that, we kind of need a conductor. We need a master symphony conductor, and that turns out to be our endocannabinoid system. So the fun thing about anything that I'm going to tell you guys is it's real easy to look up. So look up GLP-1 and GPR120. So that's an endocannabinoid receptor. It's a omega-3, let's say fatty acid receptor that's associated with all this communication. And then also look up GPR119. And what you'll find is these two receptors sit way above cell-to-cell communication. They're communicating to a lot of cells, and they can tell a lot of cells all at the same time, release GLP-1. I'm full, I'm full, I'm full. And they do that, right? They do that under certain circumstances. It's complicated how you work, but it's really easy to explain. The complication really comes in with all these external factors that happen to us. So again, if you have a cell phone, that likely impacts this. All of us are pathologically infected with something. So that affects all this. And again, those pathogens have resource needs. They get in the middle of these processes and they'll send different signals. Eat more sugar. Have you ever noticed that, when you're walking through the grocery store and you kind of walk by those donuts, you'll get a little, you might look at those donuts and think, oh, well, those look good. You get all this reinforcement. Yeah, they look good. Boy, do they look good. You haven't eaten a donut in a month. Boy, that donut will be fine. You can eat that donut. It'll be fine. It won't hurt you one bit. It's like, wow, I don't get that when I walk by the broccoli. I don't get that same action when I walk by the broccoli. I wonder why that is. Well, the bugs talk to you. Again, they can stimulate dopamine and serotonin. So if you have a thought that they kind of like, they're going to promote that thought. If you have a thought they don't like, they're going to demote that thought. You can always override this with will, right? So we're a strong spiritual being. We can always override all the noise of this meat puppet that we drive around all the time. But the more bacterially, let's say chronically inflamed, infected we are, it gets harder because that noise gets louder. So you have noise and you have basically pathogens that are influencing your behavior, influencing your immune system, influencing all kinds of stuff. And again, they will scream for sugar, right? So that's kind of what they do. And they will override, a lot of satiety signals, a lot of fullness signals. So it turns out that some bacteria can actually alter our bile, so how we break down fats, and can cause us to preferentially favor certain things over other things, which again will cause us not to feel full, which is crazy. So again, what do I want to leave you with? Well, we've done all this work for you. I want you to know that there's a lot of science behind what we do. There's a lot of intention. There's a lot of thought. We develop natural products almost with the same rigor and intention as pharmaceutical companies, okay? And they're very intentionally designed. So with all this knowledge, I'm like, well, I know that we can build kind of a safer GLP-1 effector. I mean, that's going to be pretty easy to do. So we've done that in our company called TrueMedix, so TrueMedx.com. And I'm sure it's linked somewhere, but TrueMedix.com. And you can go and find the fast tablets. And those fast tablets are designed to basically affect you up at the GPR119 and GPR120 level, allow those to control and release GLP-1 and GIP and peptide YY and all these guys that control, hunger and satiety. So allow them to do that work. And that is much, much safer. And I'll give you the reason for this real quick. So we all operate in two different gears, fasting and fed. Okay. So in a fasted state, we're as we should be. So we have a banging good immune system. We have two ways to kill cancer. We're burning fat, so we're not going to be obese if we operate in this way. And we're burning fat, and that's kind of where we want to be. Burning fat is 50 times more energetic than burning sugar. So when we're in a fasted state, we're up here and we're standing tall. We have a very strong immune system. It's very hard for a lot of these pathogens that we're getting now to infect us and kind of hook us if we're up in this state. Now, can we operate in this state all the time? No, regrettably, because we need nutrients. And we may get past this at some point. I think we can drink our nutrients and we wouldn't have to have this, let's say, happen to us, this situation. We would have to go into low gear, but we do now because we have to eat. So when we eat, it is the most consequential and, let's say, difficult thing that you can put your body through. If your body is already stressed with a cancer, with infection or something, you're just adding to the angst every time that you eat. No joke. So eating should be super intentional. We should do it as infrequently as we possibly can because it's so consequential. And what happens when we eat is we go into low gear. And when we go into low gear, we can't burn fat because we've eaten fat and we have to deal with fat. We have to look at the fat that we have stored in our fat tissue. We have to analyze it. Is it better than what I just ate? Is it not? If what I just ate's better, I got to pull it into my liver. I got to reconfigure triglycerides. I got to suck it back out. So you're literally kind of re-managing all of your fat every time that you eat. And a lot more stuff is happening too, but it takes about 5 hours. So when you're doing that, you can't be burning fat. I mean, you might in certain micro instances. If you're running a marathon, you're going to be burning fat in your legs. But conformationally, your body's not set to burn fat. It's set to burn sugar in that. And when you're burning sugar, you're 30 to 50 times less energetic. You turn off your ability to fight cancer. You turn off a lot of things that protect you in your immune system. You're making cholesterol here. Oh, I have a cholesterol problem. Yeah, you're just didn't fed too long. I mean, literally. So, and most of us eat breakfast, and about the time we're getting ready to flip into fasted mode, we eat lunch. And then about the time we're getting ready to flip again, dinner, snack before bed, energy drink, diet, Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, anything with sugar, anything over 50 calories puts us down here. Okay. And when you're down here, when you're operating in kind of glucose land and you've got a lot of pathogens, just everything in you is going to scream for sugar. It's going to be incredibly, difficult, let's say, to lose weight with anything but intermittent fasting. It will be difficult the first couple of days with intermittent fasting because, again, you've got lots of voices kind of screaming at you to eat sugar. Quick facts around intermittent fasting. Anyone can intermittent fast. Again, if you're a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic, I would do so under sort of doctor supervision or some kind of clinician supervision. If you have cancer, I would, fasting is a really good thing to do if you have cancer. But I would have some advice. You likely need some medical advice. If you're going to sort of extreme, and intermittent fasting is nothing more than I open a window today. That's the first time that I eat. And then I close that window when I quit eating for the day. 50 calories is eating, your energy drink, your pre-workout stuff, that's eating, so water is not eating, coffee black is not eating, tea is not eating. But anyway, so 4 hours is what I eat in. That's a little extreme. If you can do that in 8 hours or less, so let's say you eat your first 50 calories at noon and then you close your window at 8 p.m. So an 8-hour window is really, really good and manageable for most people. But a lot of people will say, Chip, I can't go, 4 hours without eating. I get hungry. I feel hungry in my stomach. Everything in me says I need to eat. And it was like, yeah, the bacteria are screaming at you, brother. I hear you. But one of the things that you can do to get past that is a teaspoon of olive oil. Okay. So olive oil contains something called oleic acid. Oleic acid will build an endocannabinoid called oleomide, and oleomide is your satiety molecule, is your I'm full molecule. So that won't kind of get you over the hump in a lot of this, but it will get you through, let's say, a lot of those quick cravings and need for food. Because again, we can all go 40 days without food. Cool beans. All right. So I will see you guys later. We'll see you back tomorrow for another, hopefully not so long and involved brief Chip Talks. See you guys later. Bye.